Hello, this is Mr. Bissonette with another episode of Math in the Classroom. Today we're going to go over the law of cosine. So we'll use the projector and we'll get going with that. All right, first thing, what is the law of cosine? So if we want our learning target, we'll go with I can use the law of cosine to solve for a side of a triangle. Okay, so again, what is the law of cosine? Most commonly stated, it is c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab times the cosine of c, capital C there. Now this is one of those ones I tell my students, if I was the king of the math world, I would change things a little bit and I would actually go a little different direction with this, and I would go a squared equals c squared plus b squared minus 2 times c times b times the cosine of a. In which case I ask the students, why would I do this? The thing of it that's just a little tricky with the c, if I said this is a c without a reference, we don't know if that's the capital C or a lowercase c, where it could go, that could make it the lowercase c, or if we had that, that would make it the uppercase c. But when we see a by itself like that, we know that it's the capital A, okay? So again, what does this have to do with the triangle when we set it up? The important part is that we're solving for the side that's going to be opposite of the angle. So, first example, we'll look at something like this. And again, with the law of cosine, we don't have to use right triangles, which makes our life a little bit better. And if this is A, this is C, this is B, we have 9, 14, and 17 degrees. So if we want to call this our X, or this is our little a, that's what we're solving for, that side across from the angle. Using the law of cosine, again, one of the ways that I can tell that it's going to be law of cosine, if I have sides sandwiched, an angle sandwiched by two sides, that's kind of that indication that I'm going law of cosine. Probably the two trickiest parts of law of cosine is remembering the formula for 1, which I've been pretty surprised, or my students did a really good job remembering that. And then setting it up and then just running it through the calculator and knowing the steps to do that. So here we go. If we set this up, we're going to say, if we want to say this side is our x, we would say x squared is going to equal 9 squared plus 14 squared minus 2 times 9 times 14 times the cosine of 17 degrees. Now what I'm thinking in my head is I'm not really thinking which is the A, the B, and the C and all of that. I think my side is opposite of my angle. Okay, so side is opposite of the angle, and then the sides that are given, we're just going to plug those into the sides that are given right there. That's kind of what I'm thinking in my head. All right, past this, this is a PEMDAS problem, order of operations. We're going to do our 9 squared, we're going to do our 14 squared. So we're going to get x squared equals 81 plus 196 minus 2 times 9 times 14 times the cosine of 17 degrees. 81 plus, well, I guess we'd do our multiplication first here. So we'd have x squared now equals 81 plus our 196 minus. You could kind of get away with this just because that minus separates that multiplication from the adding and addition there. But being really correct, there we go. So we'd have 2 times 9 times 14, which is going to be 2 times 9 is going to be 18, and 18 times 14 is going to be 252 times the cosine of 17 degrees. All right, now we can do our adding here. We still have multiplication here, but again, we can save that to the end once we really plug it into the calculator and go from there. So we're going to have x squared equals 1 and 6 is going to be 7. No carry, 9 and 8 is going to be 17. Carry my 1 is going to be 277 minus 252 times cosine of 17 degrees. All right, at this point in time, this is where I'm going to grab the calculator and start plugging it in. So I'm going to do my 277 minus 252 times the cosine of 17. I'm going to get that part of the answer. Okay, now that's going to be approximately 36, something like that. We have this x squared, so we're going to have to do the square root of both sides. To be perfectly correct and not round until the end, we can go second square root, and then we do second a and s, or that minus sign, and that puts that full answer in there. So now we're not rounding until the end, but if we do our tenths or hundredths, we're going to be just 6. So that turns out pretty nice. To get x is approximately 6. All right, take a look at this. See if it makes sense. Our x would be approximately 6. Does the sum of our two smaller, is that greater than our larger? Yep, it works. It makes sense. There is the law of cosine. So again, the couple things that I think are important on this one is our side is opposite of our angle. I look for the sandwich. The angle is sandwiched between two sides. And once we have that, then it's just order of operations as we solve it through until we plug it into our calculator and don't round until the very end. So again, thank you. That's Mr. Bissonette with another episode of Math in the Classroom.